You can put out a song, you can promote it, you can do whatever. But if you aren't going about it in a business aspect and, getting those advertisements, getting those playlists pitched, getting all those things needed, doing all of the promotion videos, music videos, things like that, then if you aren't going to put the effort into yourself, who else is going to put the effort into you?
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Inner Sleeve, the podcast taking a behind-the-scenes look at all things music. I'm Cassius Morris. Joe Pacheco joining me on the line as always. What's up, Joe?
Beautiful day, man. Get the weather out of the way. Beautiful day, so
That's
it automatically puts a smile on my face. Just more, even though I'm like in a bit of a, some people watch Mojo said it looks dungeony a bit, but it's like my recording studio. But it's a bit dark. There are some windows, but like I appreciate the sun. That's for sure.
I think it looks good. It's an engineer vibe, I think.
Yeah. Well, we can't see a lot of my stuff is, all of my stuff is off camera here because it's fixed. But yeah, it's definitely my like man cave space where I do pretty much almost everything.
Marking the territory. Real quick before we jump in, we do want to remind everybody that SoundMojo is on social media at SoundMojo. Make sure to check us out. Subscribe on all of our platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And speaking of weather, that merchandise as well. We have t-shirts, crew necks, right, Joe?
Yep, t-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, hats, caps, whatever, anything you could want.
We're very happy to be joined today by Madyson Lash as our special guest, an upcoming singer-songwriter who's shaking up the world of music in a pretty creative way, I think, Joe.
Yeah, I was like, before we got her, this is the first time actually we physically, spoke to her, but we've been dealing by email and stuff. But I mean, like, I was impressed to hear her approach to music and music business. It hasn't been that long. It's like, 10 months she's actually focused on saying, I'm going to go for it. Not to spoil the interview, but like it was definitely refreshing, let's say, on her approach.
It's always cool to see somebody who's up and coming who not only has a handle of course, the music and the love for it, but the business side of music. Because I think one of the best ways I've heard it put, it's not called music friends, it's called the music business. And this is a key element of it. So, I mean, I think that this is something a lot of artists can learn from. So we're going to jump into this in just a moment. Jumping right into some music news, it's a good week for Ed Sheeran as he's just won the Shape of You copyright suit. Now, this has been a suit that's been raging on for a little while now. And what's the exact story behind this, Joe? Because I think that the details on this are a bit complicated.
These songs are massive, right? So you have like this song, like Shape of You. I mean, like, wow, it's like, I can't believe, there wasn't that like maybe a minute in the day that it wasn't played somewhere or that you didn't hear it that summer, right?
Probably one of his bigger songs.
Yeah, exactly. And when you said like at the beginning, it made me laugh because you said like it's a good week for him. I mean, like when has it been a bad week for this guy? Like, in terms of financially and popularity, not like personal and whatever you may be going through or, situations. But anyway, Sammy Switch is an artist that had put out a song in 2015 that had Oh My, that's the title of the song, right? So, and like, that's similar to the chorus of Shape of You, right? Oh my, whatever. So like when I first heard this, my first instinct was like, oh wow, like that's like a copy, right? What did you think your first listen?
I think it's really hard to deny how similar these tracks are. I mean, when you hear it, it almost does sound like a direct, almost sample or at least a direct influence. I mean, I think it's pretty hard to get around, but evidently he did get around it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like this thing had 5.6 billion views on YouTube, right? It became the first track to surpass 3 billion streams on Spotify. Wow. I mean, so it's a massive hit, right? And they had $2.8 million in royalties suspended because as soon as like there's a claim like this, all the societies will usually block their rates until it's figured out, and then they pay out to whoever won or whoever is the copyright, whatever,
And this is tens of millions of streams it would take to have 2.8 million. I mean, I would imagine it's like 500 million streams.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, think about it. That's streams. 3 billion streams plus 5 billion views on YouTube. Like, and that doesn't include radio, video airplay. Right. That doesn't include licensing to commercials, licensing in movies, licensing to toy companies, whatever, products. Like, there's money to be made, especially at this level, So anyways, like, for me, like my first impression was like, wow, this sounds really similar, just like Katy Perry a couple of years back with the Dark Horse thing, right? Which she ended up losing. It was very similar. And now she appealed. So, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. But like my whole point in bringing this up was like, man, where do you want to go, right? We have like a 12 chord sort of or 8 note system in music here, and pop usually uses like the same 4 or 5 sort of chord progressions, So, and with 60,000 songs a day just on Spotify, one platform, that doesn't include anybody else being uploaded. I mean, man, the chances of you sounding similar and stuff. What was interesting was that allegedly they had said that Ed Sheeran had ways to hear the song. They had sent him the song for him to hear to maybe collaborate on the song. But then it was clarified. Yeah, exactly. It was clarified later on that like he never had a chance, and none of the other writers either heard Sammy Switch's version. Once he admitted to that, like that's what kind of like made him win the case at the end of the day, the way I see it.
Now, if he would have heard it, do you think that this would have been a legitimate suit? Because again, listening to them, they are similar.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember as a kid, like reading a magazine where Bon Jovi once said, or was it Richie Sambora? I don't know. One of them said, and I didn't understand why. Like they get unsolicited material all the time. I mean, at the time I was young. Of what's unsolicited? Well, people would send them demos all the times of their songs and stuff. So if they would actually open it and listen to it, and then that person can claim like, well, you stole my song because I sent it to you, you opened it and all that stuff. So it's very tricky, like.
Exactly.
It's like a minefield here, like you're playing this chord like, wow, am I going to get sued, So it's just wanted to bring it like to people's attention to understand that it is hard. And there's going to be a lot of these. I have a feeling it's going to be a tons more just on SoundMojo here. I mean, I'll get like, with loop libraries abundant all over the place for $10, $10 a month. You have, unlimited like loops and samples you can use in your works. Well, I always get copyright claimed from somebody because of a vocal as a sample and it's been used.
There you go.
So I'll just write back and say, like, hey, look, this is part of this package. Anybody could buy this. And usually they let go of the claim. But even Bieber used a sample that was used on another song, but didn't even change the sample, didn't even manipulate it to make it their own. And what's funny is like, I was thinking about what happens if somebody Shazams the song, who do they find if it's the exact
what comes
same
up
sample?
first?
That's it, So it's like, I'm assuming Bieber would come up first, but just from popularity. But I mean, like, it's going to get confusing, for a lot of people and stuff. Even myself, like I've had music that I released, 10 years ago that like 6 years later, I got someone copywriting and I'm like, I go check out the song and I'm like, well, dude, it's a patch on one of my keyboards. So anybody could use that patch. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then they let it go, but it's going to be messed up, man.
It really is. And the interesting thing, too, that we're seeing in music is the trend is to be using more samples. And I mean, at least people are coming out and paying straight up. We've seen Megan Thee Stallion, she went and paid the Eazy-E estate for his instrumental. So, I mean, I think if you're going to do it, it's better to just pay straight up. But like you're saying, Joe, there's only so many words and so many chords. So it's not like it's always intentional, too.
A lot of times, I think back in 2013, if I remember correctly, Bruno Mars as well got like, what was the song?
Was it Grenade, I think?
No, it was after that. I think it was Precious. Is that one of the songs titled Precious or something?
Treasure, wasn't it?
Treasure, that's it.
Treasure.
And that song apparently was released by someone else. So what they ended up doing, and I think what happens in a lot of these things, even with, I don't know if that was the same thing with Tom Petty and like the Chili Peppers, where there was a similar song. But anyways, like in the case of Bruno Mars, the guy got added on as a songwriter. So that's a good way to compensate this person forever, because like Treasure is going to always be played, and so that's what could happen in this case. Like I think they were hoping that like he would be added on to the Ed Sheeran royalties, which like man, I want to take my 7% or whatever it is from that. You know what I mean? Like,
take the money and run. Well, at least at the end of the day, he gets some good promo, and I mean the video of his version is at over 2 million views on YouTube, so it can't hurt.
Yeah, I know. There was one comment that I read. The one comment I read said, "This guy's a genius. His video now has 1.9 million more views than it did before the lawsuit."
It's going to recuperate the legal fees there. So I guess it's a win-win maybe on all sides. The developers of Fortnite, Epic Games, have raised an epic sum of cash, the sum of $1 billion investment from Sony Music Group amid the Metaverse concert rush. Now, this is something that the Epic Games company is not new to. They've been positioning themselves into the Metaverse concert world, of course, with the likes of Ariana Grande, Travis Scott, but now it looks like they're taking a leg up and really moving forward into this space.
Yeah, I mean, like, they kind of like were perfectly timed, right at the beginning of the pandemic, with Travis Scott and all these big, people coming and doing their shows. And I watched it, and it was interesting. When it's part of the game and you can play, it's not just like a screen where someone's spinning a record, but this was actually a whole production in Fortnite. That was cool. I didn't even know they were banned. I forgot. It was just recently they bought Bandcamp as well. So there's something in there with Epic Games and music and an ownership of stuff.
Many companies jumping in too.
That's it. It seems to be a trend because Sony also invested further down. They talk about they've invested even in Roblox as well, which is another platform where there's millions and millions and millions of kids. And to date, Roblox has hosted events and concerts from 24 Golden, Ava Max, Lil Nas X, David Guetta, Poppy, and 21 Pilots. So now the concerts are sort of coming back. It's a weird mix, but they're investing in this because I'm hoping that they make this more than just a concert where they're showing you things, make it more interactive or more specific to fans, so you don't have someone else ruining your experience. What do you think about these things?
I think it's fascinating. The first thing it makes me think of is the comparison to hologram concerts. And maybe I could ask you this question. How do you think this does compare? I mean, do you think that it would be more appealing to go see, let's say, a Tupac hologram live at a theater, or to actually have a Tupac Metaverse show, maybe to put your goggles on and stay in the comfort of your own home? Because, I mean, if you're not actually seeing a person, maybe you don't want to actually leave your home.
Well, that's it, right? So, that's a good question because, I'm not a fan of, I'd rather go to the show and see it. But yeah, it depends on your circumstance. Can you go to the show? Is it sold out? Then you can watch it at home. Or in the case of, like you said, someone who's no longer with us, that's definitely an attractive thing to do, to witness. Especially maybe, with the metaverse and everything, and Oculus and VR headsets are becoming more and more, prolific and around, more access to these things. So it's going to be I watched the other day the Foo Fighters performance during the Super Bowl. They did a little VR thing in the metaverse, and
how was that?
I have to admit, it was trippy. It wasn't full 360. I turned around and it was just black space, but I mean, it's so cool to see Dave Grohl, and it was just after Taylor passed away, but it was just to see the whole thing. You're in the room, and then you just see a camera guy walk right by you. And then you see another camera guy here. So it's fun, man. It's different. It's a different vibe. You're by yourself in the comfort of your home or wherever you may be, but you could still be immersed in the show.
Does it feel more enjoyable to actually have that, or is it better to just watch it on a screen? I mean, I'm curious, does it really make you feel like you're there or and that much more immersed?
I think much more. I think it's better that it's there because it blocks out your living room or wherever you are, the surroundings and stuff. And if you have a headset, well, then you're really in. It does, what's trippy with this stuff is that I went on YouTube VR just for fun to see what it was like, and I went on a roller coaster. Oh, and wow. Then my body, it's weird. My body reacted, even though my mind knew that it was I know I'm sitting
still
on my
felt
couch.
It.
I still felt that initial of adrenaline or scared and stuff, and you're wow, that's such a trippy experience. So, I mean, I don't know how concerts are going to be, but it's I would love to try it. Just go and watch a full show in something like that in the metaverse and stuff. I mean, Snoop Dogg is all over the metaverse.
Yeah, one of the early adopters. I mean, I believe he was involved in some startup projects, as was David Guetta, as early as 2021, which is cool. I mean, I wonder about the artists who are really ahead of the curve on this in terms of what the benefits will be in being early in this space, because it seems like the early adopters are going to get to maybe decide what a lot of the trends are early.
Yeah, but I think it's so funny because I've been really diving into the whole Web3 last couple of months and really learning what the metaverse is, what you can do with it, what an NFT is, what you could do with it, the utility, all that stuff. But it's and everybody's talking about the Web3 as being decentralization and get your info back, own your own info. But what's weird is that is it really Web 3.0 or is it Web 2.1 in the sense you're still doing the same things and you're trying to push Web 3 and all this stuff, but on Web 2.0 technically, So
right.
It's and the game is still the same. Is it a game of money? Like you said, the first people that show up, you might get a couple of people like you and I that we're more innovators and we blow up. Why not, right? But it comes down to money and investment and so I mean, look, someone like Snoop Dogg. I mean, the guy, like, he just bought, what was it, the Death Row, right, records and
Yep.
everything. So I knew right away this guy's going to be doing NFTs. It's going to be
Yeah.
hardcore
He's just
into the
getting started.
metaverse. He's just getting started, you know. So that's why I'm like hanging on for the ride, but at the same time, it's like it's business as usual for you and me kind of artists, where it's like you still have to hustle like crazy, still have to build a crazy audience. So still a lot of work, you know. What do you think about, like, how does this, like, you know, from what you see or have learned of the metaverse and all this stuff, what do you think? How do you think it affects an indie artist? Like, what should their approach be?
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering about. And I think it opens a lot of doors. You know, I think that especially for an indie artist, I think one of the biggest challenges is getting people out to shows, you know, actually getting people, you know, to whether it's call a babysitter for their kids or leave their pet at home or just get out. It can be a challenge, especially now, because, you know, I think since COVID, people have put so much TLC into their home setups that they're so nice now that they don't want to leave even more. So, I mean, I think that this could give a leg up in terms of saying, hey, you don't have to go anywhere. We can come to you. And maybe the early adopters in the indie space are going to be able to hopefully have more customizable features in terms of reaching out to people. Because I think that's the biggest thing that makes a difference for these indie guys is just the interactivity with their audience, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, socials. I think that's the most important thing.
It remains to be seen, man. Like,
it remains to be seen. It's interesting though, and I'm definitely excited about this, especially for groups that are already here and past. I mean, you know, we think about something like the Beatles Get Back documentary. Imagine if something like that was, you know, put in a VR space and you could be sitting in the room writing, you know, Let It Be with Paul. I mean, I think that the sky is the limit for this.
One thing I find interesting is that it opens a lot of like possibilities for anybody to just own a part of something instead of, like, you know, like you own a CD, you can own an album, but now, like, you know, with the whole royalties thing, you know, hopefully when they get that stuff figured out, like, you can be an investor in the artist. And then, like, you know, 20 years, like a label, that's what a label does. When a label fronts you money, they're investing in you. It's like a bank. People think it's free money, and like what they're doing is they're paying you so that you can focus on your craft and only do that. You don't have to take a job. You don't have to whatever, you know, do all this stuff.
A bank with bad rates. No.
But you got to, you got to pay back. You got to pay back this money. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to work. So it's interesting to see, like, maybe someone's going to put, I don't know, $1,000 today or $500 to support this band, and own an NFT for this artist. And, you know, if they don't put it on the secondary market and they hold on to it and it does somehow blow up, next thing you know, like 10 years later, you could have maybe invested in the next U2. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the thing. And I mean, it just the ease of use and ease of access is always something that's going to push it forward. So now we're going to jump into our chat with our special guest, Madyson Lash. We hope you guys enjoy, and we'll catch up with you right afterwards. We're back with another awesome guest right here on Inner Sleeve. It's a pleasure to be joined by Madyson Lash. Madyson, what's going on?
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show. So what's going on with you? By the way, we did notice just before we started, you and Joe are microphone twins. So this is setting it off for a good tone.
Yes.
We are in sync.
You know, I've just been working on a whole lot of music. I just had my single Champion come out, so that's been doing really well. Just gearing up for my new releases, an album, you know.
So you mentioned the Champion, and like we also premiered it on SoundMojo a little while back. So how you said it was doing well? Like, what's well? I'm curious when, you know, like.
So I really just started doing music seriously about 9 months ago, and now I have like almost 7,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and like almost 10,000 streams on Champion alone. All my other music that I put out previously is getting more streams too now, so that's really awesome, and especially for starting out just like 9 months ago.
Wow,
no doubt. So how exactly do you think it got to that level in 9 months? Because, I mean, I'm sure that did you look things up in terms of tactics? Did you talk to people?
Yes. So I am very, I like to think of music as a business. And so I have like a whole like business strategy that I use as far as like advertisements and getting playlists pitched and all that kind of stuff. And
Nice.
Implementing that has really just kind of helped me um, gain that kind of following and gain that kind of support. I also have a YouTube channel too, and I have a lot of streams coming from them as well.
Nice. Where did this come in for you, Madyson? Or were you passionate about music for your whole life, or was this something that just came in for you?
Oh, from the get-go. It's actually really funny. Whenever I was growing up, I had people all around me saying, "Oh, you could sing before you could talk." Like I remember you just being in the corner in preschool and just singing to yourself. Like you wouldn't talk, you would just sing. And
Right.
so I always kind of grew up with music just kind of in my life. I grew up doing like talent shows and gigs and all that kind of stuff too. Did a lot of extracurriculars that involved music, like area choirs, musical theater, things like that. And then I just kind of decided to start doing my own.
Has it always been in the same genre, like ballady or singer-songwriter oriented?
Not necessarily. I actually started out doing country
Oh, cool.
because of the area that I'm from. So I'm originally from Pittsfield, Illinois. It's a really small town. And a lot of the music that's in that area is more so country music. So I grew up doing a lot of like Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert, things like that. And yeah, I just somehow transitioned into doing more of the singer-songwriting stuff.
So what was like your earliest like performance in terms of like in front of an audience?
My first talent show, I was 7 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
I did Sneaker Night by Vanessa Hudgens, and I won the talent show.
Nice.
Now, when
There
I
you
look
go.
back on it, I think it was just because I was cute, but I don't know. It kept going from there.
Was that the one she did in High School Musical?
Yeah, I think so. It was either that or it was like a Disney Channel original type of situation.
See, we're from that era where that was taken over, and all the all the kids in elementary school at the
yes.
time, that's what they wanted.
Loved High School Musical.
No doubt.
I've never.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm just saying I've never watched it. I've never seen. I've heard about High School Musical, but I've never actually seen it.
You've never seen High School Musical? Oh
No.
my goodness. You're
Your
missing
kids
out.
were never the musical type, Joe, like in terms of like actual musical theater.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
I don't like musicals. I mean, like The Wizard of Oz is a classic. I like, but I don't like Broadway or that kind of stuff. It just, I don't know. I've never been to a show. I'd like to go and experience it because I'm sure it's amazing.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, but I'm like not a fan of, let's say, listening to it.
No, that makes sense. Do
Yeah.
you still use any of the techniques that you learned in theater in your singing today? Because I've heard a lot of people do.
Yes, definitely. So a lot of the vocal techniques, like, singing like with your chest and keeping your chest open and opening your mouth more when you sing like higher notes, that's a strategy. Like those strategies are things that I always use. And as far as like performing goes too, because I've done a bunch of performances since I've started doing my own music, and being able to like use your body and really engage the audience. Like I've really implemented a lot for musical theater.
That's really interesting.
Have you ever taken lessons besides that, like vocal lessons or musical instrument lessons?
No, never.
You don't play any other instruments? Or
Oh, I
anything?
play guitar. I play guitar and a little bit of piano. I tried to teach myself a little bit of piano, but it hasn't really worked out so far.
It's
And
tough,
the guitar is
'cause-
working?
It is tough. Yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was 11. My dad taught me.
So what type of music was in the house when you were growing up? Like, were your parents very musical people, and did they teach you about music early?
Not really, no. It was
Okay.
more of a thing I had to figure out for myself and just, looking at all the different genres and figuring out which ones I liked, which ones I didn't, things I resonated with, things I didn't resonate with, and things like that.
I'm curious, actually. Like, have you ever played like in a band situation?
No.
Is that something you would love to do or like to do?
I think that would be really fun. I think it would be really fun to do a band type of thing.
So in terms of the music that did speak to you early on, that after you were sort of discovering more outside of the Broadway musical stuff, what did speak to you first? Like, was it just country, like you were saying, or what else
No,
started to creep
it was
in?
like the complete opposite. So I kind of resonated a little bit more with like powerhouse singers like Christina Aguilera, Celine Dion. I was listening to a lot of their music early on. And Stevie Nicks also. I'm a huge fan of Stevie Nicks. She's a really big influence of mine. And then as far as genre wise, I did kind of transition into more of like the singer songwriter whenever I got older, because that's just what I resonated with more
Yeah.
as far as like just meaning behind lyrics and stuff like that.
I'm curious
But
to ask you. You mentioned Stevie Nicks, and a lot of people mention Stevie Nicks because I mean, like she's amazing. But I never had thought about it until you just said it, of asking why. Why Stevie Nicks? Like what about
I
her?
I just think that her vocal style, and I mean I've always loved Fleetwood Mac and everything, and her voice, I don't know what it is. It's just it's so different and it's so enticing to me. I feel like in the industry as females, there are quite a few females that do kind of sound very similar, have the similar sound, but she deviates from that sound. She goes against the norm. And I really appreciate that as a female artist.
No question. What are your thoughts on, speaking of that, today's sort of scene when it comes to female artists who are prevalent? I mean, we're seeing, a lot of changes. It seems to be going from mostly singer, songwriter to like sort of pop, rap. I mean, what are your thoughts on the
Yeah.
current scene?
Um, I I mean, I don't mind it. I feel like a lot of women are kind of stepping in to the music industry. We have a lot of, female producers, female head A&Rs, things like that. I really think that music's going in the right direction as far as um having those females involved.
Yeah.
As far as genre wise, I mean, I like the music. I listen to the music. I think it's really great that females are being more represented in the music industry. And yeah.
It's true that you say that because, like, even just like what, 10 years ago, 15 tops, like, it was a completely different picture in the music industry.
Yes.
Not just for performers, but the whole business, A&R,
Mm-hmm.
management,
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's true that, like, more and more, it's like, it's balancing out. And, like,
It's balance. Yes, it's balancing out. And
yeah,
I really appreciate that as an
yeah,
artist.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you also see, female artists like Taylor Swift going up against somebody like Spotify and actually making a difference. I mean, how does it feel when you see things like that occur?
It's very empowering to see, especially in Taylor's case, the way that she went about and really got her masters back and things like that. I think that's really important for the music industry because I feel like whenever you're going against a big power like that, not even just Spotify, but like in general in the music industry, I feel like it's really easy to get intimidated by these big people. And her going against them and getting what she wanted out of it is really showing people that you can actually stand up for yourself and you can do the things that you want in the music industry. It doesn't control you, you control it.
I know
If that makes sense.
we speak a lot about that, the fact that she's like, what she's accomplished because it's incredible,
Yes,
right? Like, not many
it is
people have
incredible.
gotten Apple to change their mind or go back on
Yeah.
something, like, and then like the masters thing. Since you bring that up, and like I understand like owning your own masters. What does that mean to you, owning your own masters? Like, because right now we don't know. Like in 10 years, you could be in Taylor's position, and that would have been the best decision you ever made. Like
Right.
to own, but it could be tough going to get there because everybody
Right,
wants a
definitely.
piece of the pie, right?
Hmm.
So like, what does that mean to you to own your own masters, or like, how do you see that?
I feel like owning your own masters is like allowing yourself to have that full power over your music career. Like I said, people in the music industry feel like that they can intimidate you and they can kind of take control over your own career. And I feel like, owning your own masters is you kind of taking the wheel and um taking yourself in the direction that you want to go as far as your music goes.
Would
You
you ever
know,
be interested? Sorry, Cassius. Would you ever be interested in, let's say, like a major label approaches you with a record deal, or are you like no labels at all or something?
So I'm open to it. I'm not gonna say like, oh, this is exactly what I want. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm.
very open to it. If I get an offer of some sort and they come up to me and then I think that I would be better off going independent, then I would want to go independent.
right.
But if if they approach me with a really good deal, things like that, I would I would take it. So I'm keeping my options open, and I'm making sure that I still have as much control over my music career as I want.
The big news, a losing game. I can't stay away. I know it ain't right, and although I try, I can't get you out my mind. The big news, a losing game.
At what point did you really realize, okay, music, like you said, you see it as a business, you understand that like there's certain things that you need to learn. At what point did that realization come in? Was that always, or when was that?
I think it was from the beginning. After like 9 months ago when I started, I kind of realized that like you can put out a song, you can promote it, you can do whatever. But if you aren't going about it in a business aspect and, getting those advertisements, getting those playlists pitched, getting all those things needed, doing all of the promotion videos, music videos, things like that, then if you aren't going to put the effort into yourself, who else is going to put the effort into you?
That's it.
Yeah.
So I've kind of always seen it as a business side of things, just because I feel like the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And so looking at it from a business aspect, if I'm getting all these things for my music, getting promotion, getting advertisements, getting with all these people, networking, things like that, I feel like that's only bettering me in the long run.
So going back, let's say to 10 months ago when you were singing and just doing music for the fun of it, what made you decide like, I want to do it now as seriously?
It was really funny. So I actually, before I actually started taking it like really seriously, I was just kind of posting like my songs here and there on SoundCloud. And I had written this one song that I wanted to record in a studio. And so my friend sent me this guy's information and was like, here's his studio, like go hit him up and like go record or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went to his studio and I recorded it, and he really had like a come to Jesus moment with me and was like, you really need to start taking this seriously, because you are wasting your talent if you don't. And
Nice.
so and so I just kind of was like, yeah, why not? And, we were in the middle of the pandemic and, nothing was really going on. So I was like, you know what? I can just start it. And then if things don't work out, then, whatever, no harm, no foul. And then it started going up, and I've been taking it seriously ever since.
It's funny because like I'm gonna ask you like two-part question, but like when I first you submitted to SoundMojo and I heard it, it was instant like, wow, this girl's got a voice. I would have had that same reaction. Were you in my studio and I heard your voice, I'd be like, what? What's going on over here? Like where have you been, right? But my my actual question was, how did you come to find out about SoundMojo?
It was actually funny. My friend that I've kind of like met through doing music, he was like, yeah, SoundMojo, the people under Watch Mojo, they're doing this YouTube channel and they need artists. And I was kind of looking into it and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. And I just sat there and kept debating with it and kept debating with it. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just send my song in? And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And so I sent it in, and then you guys liked it, and here we are.
That's it. Have you found, because like it hasn't been that long and it hasn't been that many promos or that have gone on to promote you in top tens, but have you noticed any help from it, like since like have you noticed
definitely
streams?
more like subscribers on my YouTube channel, like just going to like, because I do covers on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So like definitely more people checking out my music in general, especially like my older stuff, because I think you guys have Losing Game, which is on the EP I put out in like October.
Yeah.
And I have more streams on that now. And so I just it's really cool to see like the effects of like actually going out and like submitting it to you guys or things like that.
Yeah, because like that one is a lyric video, so I don't know how people engage, but sometimes I've gotten good results with lyric videos because it's always better to see somebody. So I'm excited to see what Champion is going to do when people actually see you singing
Right.
in the video and see how it translates into streams and subscribers. You mentioned before, and this is like the next topic I had here, like YouTube covers, TikTok, Instagram. You're like really, that's part of your strategy, right? Is to
Yes,
And-
definitely. Especially TikTok. I've been trying to grow on TikTok. It's hard going with
It's
the
not
algorithm.
easy.
It's very hard. But you know, TikTok is the new thing. Everyone's on TikTok, you know, and I feel like actually going on TikTok and making all these different videos, doing different types of content, drawing those new people in, is really what's making or breaking artists nowadays. There are a lot of people that are going viral off of TikTok just off their music alone. Like they'll post like a clip of it and then millions of views. You know?
I always hear
100%.
those stories and I'm like, why doesn't it happen to me?
Right?
Like
It's
you
one of those-
hear
yeah,
of
same
Billie
here.
Eilish, like Billie Eilish dropped a song and then boom, boom. Like, why doesn't that happen to? I've dropped many songs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, we're both doing the same methods here. No,
Yeah.
it's funny though. I mean,
But-
you know,
I was just gonna
Sorry,
just
Joe.
to continue. Sorry, man, I keep cutting you off, but like just to continue, like, have you noticed like what videos work or how they've helped you, like in terms of what covers
I've
you
definitely noticed. I've definitely noticed like certain videos and like certain like genres of music that really do well, and then those that really don't. And I've also, it's weird because I've noticed like certain like times of the day too that like I'll post. Like if I
Yeah.
post at like a certain time of day, like it doesn't do well at all. But then if I post at like a different time, like it goes up. So it's weird, but you know, I'm learning as I go. And
It's funny. You say it's weird. I say it's annoying.
it's a good healthy mixture of both. I mean,
Right.
it is strange though. You know, I mean, what you guys are saying, it made me think of the rapper Russ. He just dropped a track yesterday, actually, with a girl he found on TikTok.
Yes.
And he actually, yeah, you saw that, right? And the reason I bring it up,
I've been following her for a while, like since before
Oh.
yeah. So that was really, really cool to see like her come up, essentially.
wow, that's incredible. So, I mean, I'm sure you were probably familiar with Russ then.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. And the reason I ask is because he's one of the biggest names I hear when artists say, like, this is the guy who sort of taught me about the business and showed me the ropes. I mean, who are those people for you? I'm curious in terms of specific artists that maybe you learned a lot from.
So honestly, like not a lot of artists have kind of like helped me. It's more so my my producers. So my producers on my songs, whenever I go to them like in the studio, I'll ask them, you know, for advice on certain things. And they you know, give me certain pieces of information that are helping me, such as like, you know, ways to go about like promotion and advertisement and things like that. And they're like, oh, well, if this isn't working, then try this.
Right.
You know. So I feel like my producers and my A&Rs have kind of helped me a lot in that aspect. Not necessarily artists, but the people that are behind the scenes in the music industry.
Sticks and stones can shatter bones, but I pieced them together on my own, just so I could prove them wrong. I'm a champion.
I wanted to touch on the Champion, your new single and video. Just tell us about what the song is, the video, who made the video.
Okay. So Champion's actually a really funny story. I woke up at like 4 a.m. with the melody for the chorus in my head. And I was like, oh, let me just write it down real quick so I can go to bed. Because if I have something on my mind, I'm not going to sleep.
Right.
And so I wrote it down. And then 30 minutes later, I had the entire song done.
Wow.
Wow.
And yeah. And I went in the studio that morning and I recorded it. Champion was kind of, it's more of a personal song. I've had a lot of like family members and friends, especially family, you know, kind of come and go as they please. And it's really affected me and like my uh, some people in my family personally. And so I just wanted to make a song about it because it had been on my mind. I just kind of wanted to remind myself essentially that I don't need those people, that I'm doing just fine on my own, essentially.
No, I mean, is it
And
hard to write about that? I mean, when you're opening up, I mean, what's that like for you?
it is and it isn't. It is in the sense of like being able to open up, but once you do give yourself that opportunity to open up, it comes super quickly. Like I said, I got the song done in like 30 minutes. Whenever
Yeah.
I'm passionate about something, I don't stop. So I'll sit there and go with it. And, I'll have the song done in like 25, 30 minutes. It's crazy. But
So you
when
just
you
let
have
it out.
something, when you have something that's fueling what you're doing, then it makes everything else easier.
Are you conscious while it's happening?
Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. There there's another song I wrote, Losing Game. I think it's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually wrote that in a grocery store parking lot.
Oh, wow. See, it's
And
always
I
cool to
had, like,
find out where people write things.
yeah, it's so weird. Like I've written songs in like grocery store parking lots, like in the waiting room of the dentist office. Like it's so weird. But yeah, Champion kind of came easy, and I went and recorded it the next day, performed it the next day. And yeah, the rest is history. As far as the music video goes, though, jumping back to your question, the music video was done by my friend Dylan Johnson. He's just starting out like a photography business. I wanted to spotlight someone that's coming up as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's what
And
it's all
I
about.
think, yeah, definitely supporting your smaller creators, your smaller businesses. So yeah, he did the video and all the editing and everything. He did a great job.
Nice. I want to know, like, when you say, I wrote it and performed it the next day, like, how do you, like, because there's drums and guitar, like, do you do that stuff? Like, did your producer
No,
help you?
no. I had the track already
Oh, okay.
for the song, and so I just kind of put it into the DAW and recorded it, and then made the show track version, and then went and performed it.
Nice.
That's it, step by step. This is something that we kind of wanted to run past you because obviously here at Watch Mojo, we're well known for our top 10 list. That's the main thing, and we're curious if you might want to sort of weigh in on one of these lists. So we have two, and you tell me which one sounds more interesting. We have top 10 iconic female singers of the 90s, or top 10 most difficult songs for female singers to perform.
Ooh, those are both good. Let's do the 90s, the female singers of the 90s.
Going for the 90s. Okay, good. Now, okay, so do you have any guesses? And this, you can also, like, if you don't have exact guesses of what our top three is, let's hear your top three singers from the 90s.
Okay. So this could go for either. If they're on the top three, then they're on the top three.
Female
But
singers.
yeah. You said female singers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Celine Dion.
Okay.
I would guess the same.
Yeah. Whitney Houston. And ooh. I'm going on a whim here. And I'm gonna say Madonna.
Ooh, okay. Three very good guesses. Now, do you want the answer?
I do want the answer.
Okay, now this is perfect. Number 3 was Celine Dion.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 was Whitney Houston.
Okay.
And number 1 was Mariah Carey.
I was thinking of that.
Yeah. I was thinking Mariah Carey for the 2000s, though. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I
'Cause I
think
had
she
her in my
probably has
mind.
her bigger hits then.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
had her
maybe.
in my mind for like the 2000s because I was gonna say her, and then I was like, no, like her more bigger hits were in the 2000s. So
Yeah. When you
That's
said
But
Whitney,
those were good guesses.
oh, it's perfect guesses, man. When you said
Yeah.
Whitney, I thought of Mariah, but then I'm thinking maybe there's a tricky someone else I can't remember.
right,
you know?
that's why I said Madonna because I was like, it might be
Yeah.
tricky,
Yeah.
No doubt. I love
Oh,
that.
that was great guesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
I'm
are
proud of
perfect.
myself. Shoot.
Yeah.
I think you're the first
So
person that's done
Madyson, I
so
mean,
well.
yeah, no doubt. I'm curious for you, like, what are you looking forward to in the future? It's so early in your career. At any point, would you ever consider doing behind the scenes work, A&R? I mean, is it too early to think of this?
I have considered that actually. I've definitely weighed the options of going and getting the credentials of like mixing and mastering and doing producing as well.
Yeah.
It's always been kind of my thing from the start that don't um if I don't progress my own career and I don't, make it within my career, then I want to progress someone else's. I want to help
Yeah.
other artists. So, I've thought about going and getting the credentials and doing producing and things like that. As far as like what I see for myself in the future, as far as my career goes, definitely more releases. Um, like I said, I'm working on an album now. Hopefully that'll be out around summertime.
Nice.
So I'm very excited for that. Definitely more content as far as like my social media and stuff goes. And yeah.
And any live performing?
Yes, definitely live performing as well.
Awesome.
Awesome. And where can people find you mostly on social media? Where are you the most active?
You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Madyson Lash. That's where I'm most active. But if you search Madyson Lash on YouTube, I'm there as well.
And Madyson, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been awesome chatting, and just keep up the great work. We're going to be listening for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm a champion. Champion. I'm a champion. Champion.
I want to give a huge shout out to Madyson Lash for joining us here on SoundMojo. As we mentioned right off the top, an artist with a very sharp business mind. One of the things that stood out to me, Joe, was that she mentioned she's had a passion for music since a very young age and she's dabbled in it, but she didn't consider herself an official artist until she actually started 9 or 10 months ago, which is something impressive because, usually people would try to milk it. They'd say, hey, I've been doing music for 14 years. I'm a seasoned veteran. She's coming in sort of understanding the game and that she needs to work her way up in a professional setting, which is really unique.
Yeah, and like the fact that people told her, like you've been singing before you could talk, that kind of thing, and she's been doing it forever, and doing shows and events, and then like deciding, let me give this a go, let me give this an honest shot, and like I said in the interview, as soon as I heard her voice on Lying Game, which is one of the songs on SoundMojo, it was just like, wow, like where did this come from? She's got so much potential. I had no clue that she just started, kind of thing, so it's like, it was good. Another thing I liked was she mentioned, like, if this doesn't, for whatever reason, work out like we think if superstardom, but like she was interested in going into like production, A&R, and, being a woman in the industry and learning mixing and all that stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Well, that's one of the main things that I think people forget is that there's so many different jobs in the business. To be in the business doesn't mean you have to be the person center stage winning all the awards. I mean, when somebody wins one of these awards, think about all the people they're thanking. You could be one of those people. There's so many people involved. And I mean, the other thing I found really interesting was just the positive attitude about it. It's not that, I think that one thing artists do that shoots themselves in the foot is really just being too attached to the final product in their head of this is what it has to be. Really what I think the business is about is being adaptable and really being adaptable to many different situations of how it could end up.
Yeah, 100%. And like to add to your theme of like, you don't just have to be the artist or the main attraction. Yeah. I've been saying that forever. Like at a young age, I realized, man, like besides an artist, there's the entertainment lawyers, there's managers, there's producers, mixers, there's musicians, there's like booking agents, there's like manufacturers, stylists, photographers, videographers, promoters. I mean, like think about it. Like we didn't even get into actual physical instruments, guitar makers, string makers, pickup makers, straps. Like I mean,
even like roadies.
Yeah, exactly. Lighting guys, all that stuff, right? Like rental companies, all that stuff. So like, man, it really is impressive. From one little thing, one person wants to write a song and it can employ and branch out to like thousands and thousands of people.
Plant that seed and it can just grow into something amazing.
Yeah, and it's like another reason why like a lot of people, like, you know, the A-listers like Beyonce or like this type of stuff, when they decide to take a break, it's a big toll on the decision for them if they're not like super egotistical, but like they it weighs on them where it's like, I don't want to stop because like there's, you know, 1,000 people that make their living off of what I do. Right?
Exactly.
So if I decide to stop, like this guy's got to look for a job, that guy's got to do that, and you know, you miss that whole family vibe and everything. So it's
a small army, right?
Exactly. There you go. It goes such
and that's
a
what we
long
really
way.
saw during COVID too. I mean, with all the relief funds for these people, and it's really a family effort. You know, one of the things that I think I've noticed is like it seems like the best songs or the best albums or the best group projects. You know, and I think artists get very focused on me, but I think the people who focus on the group, like we're talking about, are the ones that really succeed and bring everybody else up with them.
The thing is, like with the labels over the last 100 years or whatever of screwing over artists, or, you know, a lot of people got screwed in the 50s, 60s, 70s, all that stuff. So like they've had this whole negative image of like, so now every new artist that gets into it wants to own their own masters. I was impressed that she wanted to own her own masters, but also you have to realize, like for everybody else, not just, I mean, it could work for her, it could work for you, but I mean, in general, it's a big pie, right? So everybody has to have a piece of the pie, and it's okay for them to make money. It's okay to let go of 5% for someone because they're going to get you to that level or make you meet that person or get you on that gig. It's okay. It's okay to share. You don't have to hold everything. They're not stealing from you and they're earning it from you, right? Hopefully.
Exactly.
You know, like they're getting you a gig, they're booking you here, they're doing this, they're whatever, promoting you. So it's okay, you know, it's part of the team. Like you said, it's a family, you know. So it's like if one guy has 10% and whatever, I mean, like if you want to own control, like some people are control freaks. Like we had Ghost, right? Tobias.
Yep. Very open about
freak.
That.
So
doesn't mean he always gets it.
And that's okay. That's exactly the point, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, if it all depends, like you can control 100% and go nowhere because you're only controlling yourself, you know, whereas if you do open up and let other people help you out, you know, hopefully it works out for the best in your favor, you know.
It's a great point. There's no one size fits all, I think is the best way to put it. Whether it's for a label, whether it's for owning your own masters, that doesn't mean it's always going to go well. And just because you sign to a label, that doesn't mean that's always going to be an evil, you know. You can find really great labels. I mean, we know, you know, shout out Napalm Records, people like that. There's some incredible labels out there. So I think it's really important that, you know, the up and coming artists out there, the indie artists who are listening to this are remembering these tips. And shout out to all of our artists out there who are tuned into this to get those tips. You guys are putting the work in for your craft, and we definitely hope you guys learned something from this episode.
Yeah, and like Nate James said a few episodes back, where it's like people are so used to like this is the way it worked for forever, right? But now everything is changing, and every 6 weeks it could change. So
that's
like you said earlier this episode, it's all about the adaptability and figuring out how you play in and how you fit in and what you can do, you know, to make it work for you. So yeah, it's not the same anymore like where it used to be, you know, you do this, you release here, then you go tour, it was so easier back then, I find, you know, whereas now it's like maybe TikTok works for you, maybe Instagram works for you, maybe Twitch works for you, you know, like maybe just playing busking works for you. Who knows? Coffee houses, right? That seems to be a trend we've had of artists, right?
That's the new wave, coffee houses. But again, just because you're a singer-songwriter and the coffee house worked for Bryant Del Toro, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So it's all about building the plane as you fly it, as we like to say here at SoundMojo.
I think I'm going to make a shirt.
That's it. Just wings and a plane with us in it.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to this brand new episode of Inner Sleeve. We appreciate you guys checking in. Make sure to follow us on all social media at SoundMojo and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We post community tabs, polls, updates on this day in music. Of course, make sure to follow us there, and of course on the audio platforms as well. You can listen to us on the go while you're working out, at school, whatever the case may be, and make sure to leave a rating or review as well. We definitely want to know what you guys think of the show. Thanks so much for checking in, and we'll catch you guys next week.